Welcome back to the Aubergine Chef. Now we're going to do something really easy today. It's just going to be key lime pie. Now key lime pie is a super easy dessert because really it doesn't require any extra steps. You just mix all the ingredients together and pour it into a pie shell and then just bake it to finish it off. But there are some other steps that are involved in some cases. Now if you want to use the pie dough from scratch, there is an episode on how to do that. As well as how to put it into the pie shell. I'm going to show you how to par bake it or blind bake it so that way we can fill it with the filling, because it's not going to be in the oven long enough with the filling in it to bake off the pie shell. So we want to make sure the pie shell is completely baked. You can also use a cookie crumb crust or a graham cracker crumb crust if you want, but I've been told that a pie crust is a little bit more authentic to the key lime pie concept. You can also top it, you can leave it blank, you can top it off with like the lemon meringue, but like just meringue. It's just meringue. It's not lemon meringue. It's just meringue, and or whipped cream, however you want to do it. So it's kind of customizable. So the first thing you need to do is prepare your pie crust. All right. So now that we have our pie dough and the pie shell, we can go ahead and prepare it for blind baking or par baking. Now this trick works if it doesn't have a fluted edge. If you have a fluted edge or something you're doing to the edge, it won't work. You're going to have to use baking beans. But I like this way because with baking beans, you have to take them out about 3/4 of the way or all the way through and then put it back in to finish baking the rest of the way, because sometimes the bottom of the dough won't get baked. But the way that I do it will bake all the way through the first time. So the first thing you want to do is we're trying to prevent the pie dough from rising because we don't want it to puff up or anything like that. We want it to stay nice and flat and level against the pie shell or pie pan or whatever. So the first thing we want to do is dock it by poking some holes into the pie dough. Now this isn't a huge deal in terms of what's going to happen to our pie later, because these holes will fill up during the baking process and they're just too small for any filling to really seep through. Plus the pie pan itself will keep it from going through. But what these holes do is allows the steam from the pie dough to escape from a predictable place. So that way it doesn't puff up all at once and it has a hard time puffing it up. The next thing we're going to do is take a coffee filter and place that into our pie shell. This is going to act like parchment paper. And then we're going to take another pie shell, same size, 9-inch, place that right on top. Alright, and then that's going to hold it up against the sides, but now we still need to weigh it down, so I'm just going to use an empty ramekin, and that works perfectly fine. It's oven safe, and it's very heavy. So I'm going to go ahead and bake this in about 350 to 400 degree oven for about 8 to 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, and just until the pie shell is done. Alright, so while our par baked or blind baked pie crust cools off, we can go ahead and weigh out the rest of our ingredients. Now you need a lot of key limes to get the juice that you need. And the key limes are just these little guys right here. In my grocery store, they came in a bag like an onion bag. And I think I used about 30 to 35 key limes to get it. But you probably need at least 20. But honestly, 30 to 35 is how much I needed. So I just measured them in my little liquid measuring cup. We need 3/4 cup or about 6 ounces. I'm going to double check on weighing it, but because it's just like water, it should weigh about as much as water does. And water weighs about 3/4 or 6 ounces at 3/4 cup. You also need 2 pounds, 2.5 ounces of sweetened condensed milk, which comes out to be about 3 cups. And we need 1/2 cup or 4.5 ounces of sour cream. Now this is unique to this recipe because most key lime pie recipes do not have sour cream in it. And what we're also going to do is we're going to take some of our limes and we're going to zest them. Now you can use a regular lime for this as well, but we just need 1 tablespoon of lime zest. And I'm just going to use a microplane, which is basically just a fancy wood file. And I'm pretty sure you could just get away with using wood file if you don't mind. Go into the hardware store to get your kitchen tools. And you just grate it just like this against it. And we should probably need about 2, 3, or 4, I'm going to say probably about 3 or 4 key limes in order to get the amount of zest that we need. And we're just going to dump that right into our sweetened condensed milk. Alright, we could probably do a few more limes, but this should be more than enough that we need. Let's go ahead and put that right into our sweetened condensed milk. Go ahead and add our sour cream to that. Alright, so again, 3/4 cup of key lime juice. You're going to go ahead and add that right in. It actually comes to about 6.5 ounces, so it's a little bit heavier than water or denser than water. We're just going to go ahead and whisk this all together. All right, and then here's our finished pie shell that came out of the oven. Now, for most cream pies and lemon meringue pie and even like the fruit tart, we took some melted white coating chocolate, and basically brushed it onto the shell, painted it onto the shell. And that helps keep the shell from getting soft and squishy from the soft and watery filling, or liquid-like filling, I should say. But since we're going back in the oven, the chocolate's going to melt and it's not going to work as well. So for key lime pie, it's not really necessary to do the white chocolate, brushing on the white chocolate. So go ahead and just dump in your filling. All right, and that's pretty much it. We're ready to go into the oven at 350 degrees. Now, if you notice, this recipe doesn't use any eggs. So technically, I think all the ingredients we put in were edible or food safe. As they were. So we're only going to bake it to help set it so that way it firms up just a little bit more. So we're going to bake it for about 5 to 8 minutes, just until tiny pinhole bubbles form along the surface of the dough or the filling, and then we take it out. We don't want it to brown at all. Alright, so once your key lime pie is completely cooled off and chilled in the refrigerator, about an hour, 2 hours, it's ready to eat. You can eat it right away. Now you can top it off with whipped cream, or you can top it off with meringue. That's what I'm going to do. Now, in the lemon meringue episode, I only made enough meringue to cover enough of the pie, just because I don't like a ton of meringue. And keep in mind, this is a French meringue, so it's not a baked egg product. So basically, it's raw eggs. So keep that in mind too, especially if you're serving kids or elderly people, because you don't want them to get sick. Now, that's just how it is in the United States. Now, if you go overseas to Europe, they use French meringue in everything, everywhere, all the time. So it's up to you how you want to handle it. Okay, so what I like to do is take a base amount and put it onto the pie. So I cover it all the way to the edge, and then just take the rest of it. Now, I do like the way that meringue looks when it's all piled on. I just don't like a whole mouthful of meringue, because I feel like it takes away from the pie. But it's to your preference how you want to do it. This is 5 egg whites and 6 ounces of granulated sugar. So if that gives you an idea, half of it would be about 2.5 egg whites. And I just whipped it up to soft peaks, so that way I could make long strands in the meringue. Also, if you're not comfortable using raw egg, but you still want to have meringue, they do meringue powder you can buy in the grocery store, and I believe you just add water, and that works just as well too. Okay, and then to get those little spikes, you just dip your spoon into the meringue over and over again, and soft peaks will make nice, soft points. Sometimes they'll fall over and curve. It's just a really neat look. Alright, and then to finish it off, we're going to take our creme brulee torch, and we're just going to lightly brown our meringue. It's going to add some flavor, but it's also going to add some depth in the way it looks. You can also do this briefly in a very hot oven, but the look will come out more even. So kind of like what we're doing, this is the difference between toasting marshmallows for s'mores over a fire or making s'mores in the oven. So it's up to you. Alright, that's enough browning for me. And that's pretty much it. Your key lime pie is ready to go. You can serve it like this, or if you want nice clean slices on it like I am, I'm going to go ahead and pop this into the refrigerator for about another hour or so the meringue firms up. Alright, that's how you make key lime pie. Now there's not much to it. It's a very quick recipe, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and remember, the Aubergine Chef, demystifying dessert one recipe at a time.
Chick.